what is your plans for the summer and next season?
We're at the moment we are cautiously planning for next season. We are obviously putting our friendly schedule in place for July, and we're doing everything on the basis that hopefully by then fans will be allowed back in. We've got 3 or 4 home games scheduled, 3 or 4 away games scheduled, but again, it's still quite difficult because with everyone being furloughed, it's difficult to have conversations with players and get players signed up for next season, because obviously Liam is furloughed, John McCarthy is furloughed, and the players are probably furloughed by their current clubs. So it's really kind of, it's a strange, the players know that we want them and we're interested in them. We know who we want, but kind of no one can have the conversations that you're normally having April, May for next season. So it's lots of ifs, buts and maybes at the moment. But I mean, we know where we're at with regards to friendlies. We know which players we want. It's just kind of getting them over the line. And then obviously have conversations with the players that we've already got as to who's staying for next season. The big unknown obviously is financially where we're at with the National League, and I suppose how far or not you can trust the National League to have plans in place, because what everyone is obviously cautious about at the moment in signing players is what happens if exactly the same happens next season as happened this season, in the sense of a new wave of coronavirus or anything else. Do we sign players up with clauses in the contract to say that if coronavirus hits, we don't pay you? Are we going to get backing from the National League to say that if coronavirus hits or not, or fans can't come in, you will get financial support? And even if we do get that, can we trust them? Can we believe them based on what happened last October when we had all those promises and the money dried up? So it's difficult trying to balance everything. But I think the trust in the National League is the big issue at the moment. Obviously, because A, they let the clubs down massively in relation to the funding, and then B, on the back of having let the clubs down massively funding, they then turn around and fine everyone for not playing games. So there's a real big issue there for the National League to get over before we can start thinking about next season.
Have you heard much from the National League over the past month or two?
Nothing. Absolutely. All we've had is in relation to the fines that they hit us with for the Fylde game and the Curzon game, which obviously we've lodged appeals to both of those fines. But we've heard nothing from the National League. We're obviously aware of the vote or the resolution for an EGM to have a vote of no confidence in the National League. We didn't get involved in that or vote as regards having an EGM because A, we are concentrating on the appeals at the moment, or we were, and B, there's a little bit too little information for us, or for our liking, to be able to determine whether to vote no confidence or not. We always knew it was going to get enough votes to go to an EGM. So we're going to wait for the EGM and just see kind of what further information we get, because the last thing we want is to be kind of out of the frying pan and into the fire. It's all very well voting out one group of individuals, but you need to know what the plan B is as to who's likely to come in. So we just feel that we need a lot more information in that respect. But as regards to the National League itself, we've had nothing whatsoever.
If So the vote of no confidence doesn't really go anywhere, and the same group, the same board and group of people are still in charge. Do you feel as though the relationship between Southport and other clubs with the league can be repaired?
Well, again, it's difficult, and that falls again into two issues, because obviously there's the relationship between Southport and the National League. There are individuals at the National League who we do have a good relationship with. And we do have really good relationship with one or two in there, and there's one or two in there who we don't have a good relationship for various reasons. I think the National League problem is trust across the board. And for them to repair relationships in that respect, I think I wouldn't like to have to undertake that, because that's a massive job. Relationships between the clubs is another really interesting issue, because National League North has always been kind of quite a close-knit group of clubs who, we always thought kind of looked after each other. You would look forward to away days, and everyone knew who everyone was. I think the actions of the National League and how they've dealt with the last 12 months has driven a massive stake right into the middle of the National League North. And relationships between the clubs are fractured at best. That there are groups now forming within those clubs, and obviously each of those groups think that they've taken the right stance. The other groups think they haven't, and the relationships will be very interesting next season. There are clubs who were absolutely fighting to survive, full stop, whereas there were other clubs who were kind of the view, sodden, let's throw money at it and carry on, and we just want to get promoted. So that you got two kind of real different camps that have developed, and relationships are probably difficult at best. So yeah, next season will be interesting.
So going back to how things are going to be when football's resumed and the season starts, any idea how you're going to deal with fans and the amount of fans allowed in, or is it just a matter of waiting to hear what the government says?
It's a bit of both. Obviously, we were involved in the pilot schemes to get fans in I think it was in November, and we did, we worked towards having fans in. We had a game when we did have the fans in. And we had all the systems in place for protecting the fans whilst they were in the ground. We spent a lot of time and a lot of money in making the ground coronavirus safe. Anyone who goes there now, there's the hand sanitizing stations all around the ground. We have PA announcements every 5 or 6 minutes telling people what they could and couldn't do and how to behave. And our stewards were all completely clued up in advising and helping people. We had the seats marked out where people could sit or couldn't sit. So that was all in place and remains in place. And to be honest, our capacity stands at around 6,000. On a good day, we're only getting kind of 1,000, 1,200 in anyway. So we can more than deal with the need to socially distance if we have to. If the government brings in a cap on capacity, we're more than happy that that won't affect us too much anyway. And in that respect, we're probably in a better position than some other clubs in the league who maybe have more season ticket holders than capacity will allow them to have in. But we're confident that we've got all the systems in place, should we need them to be, to enable the fans to come in, feel safe, and let's get on and watch the football. Because what's the alternative? If fans aren't allowed back in, I can't see any of the clubs trusting the National League to put any kind of funding in place again. So I think it's going to be a case of the fans come in, or the football just doesn't start.
Do you think there would ever be that possibility of a vaccine passport for the club?
Do I think it's a good idea? Probably. Do I think it will happen? No. But again, you know, as a club, we will work whatever's put in front of us. You know, if it means getting fans in, we will do whatever it takes. I think, you know, let's be honest, we're a National League North club. We're there for the fans. We're there for the day out. People come to the National League to be involved in the game and to watch the game. You know yourself, Ben, watching the football on telly is not the same. The football without the atmosphere, without the fan, it just doesn't work. And it doesn't work higher up the levels. Certainly doesn't work at our level. So we'll do whatever we need to do to enable fans to get back in.
And then just a little thing, is there any progress on club secretary position?
We've narrowed it down to kind of 3 or 4 people. We will be carrying out interviews in the next week or so. But I mean, again, it's a really difficult situation because with Fairlow, you know, A, there's not very much going on at the club. B, we don't really want to be employing somebody now to sit around and do nothing, because they wouldn't be Fairlowable, so we'd have to pay their wages. So we're aiming for a start date for any new secretary to be kind of 1st of June, so that there's actually work for them there to do, and we can justify them being there. You know, so we're not rushing. You know, James, I mean, everyone knows how much work James did at the club, and it's a massive kind of role to fill. So we need to make sure we've got exactly the right person. And for that reason, you know, we're not rushing. We'll take it easy, and just, you know, we'll employ the right person in line with when the club needs it.